How about that, ladies and gentlemen? It is once again time to enter the depths of the paranormal portal. How you guys doing? I'm doing okay. My voice is a little crunchier tonight than it was last night, but I'm feeling better, believe it or not. So I don't know how the voice is going to hold up today because it seems to have, at least become a little more involved with the throat, but nothing, not painful or anything, just raspy. So just fair warning, if my voice starts cracking and sounding like hell, it's because, it is kind of like hell right now. But I'm doing better. Thank you so much for all you that are saying, "Oh, I'm glad you're better. Hope you're better." I am. I'm doing great. Thank you so much. And I don't know about you guys, but I could not do another show. We did one last night. Sheldon and I did, and tonight I'm back, and I brought Jimmy with me, who is joining me now, Mr. Jimmy Cipriano. Everybody, say hello to Jimmy. How you doing, Jimmy?
Howdy, everybody. I'm doing fantastic on a Saturday evening.
You are fantastic, Jimmy. Don't let anybody tell you different.
Oh,
You know how we feel about you. I was going to make
color
you.
me flattered.
Of course. Let me just see. What am I doing here? I'm trying to get things lined up right. I had to blow you up a little bit because for some reason I had you shrunk really small on this screen. And probably the difference between you and Sheldon when you sit, it's always framed up a little different. So let me just do this quick so we look a little more pro than we currently did or do.
Eileen, I'm a low rider in this chair, I know.
Well, what is that? What is that? Shorty got low, low, low.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Jimmy got low, low, low. Yeah, exactly. Oh, so everything been good out there for you?
Yeah, we got absolutely blasted with snow this last 2 days in Michigan. It was like a couple 70-degree days, and then just as per usual, it did not last, and we all had to just eat it on the snow.
Yeah, it's pretty funky here too. I mean, it's been really an incredible winter overall. Thank you, Rachel, for that. I would have forgotten, so I appreciate it. Turn on the ghost radar, of course. So there we go. But yeah, it's been kind of warm, cold, warm, cold, warm, cold. But there's no snow on the ground, so it's a good thing. And most of the precipitation is rain, so we got that going for us. But I'll tell you what else we got going for us, and that's 2 full hours of the paranormal. And if you're into the paranormal, you're in the right place. If you're not, this is it's not the right place, because that's what we're going to talk about for the next 2 hours. We got a lot of things on deck. We're going to be doing the news momentarily here, and after that, we're going to dig into the question of the week. I got a UFO article pulled up that I want to go over with you guys, and then we'll round it all out with the cryptid corner and just get to it. So, you know what I was going to do today? I'll do it tomorrow with the Minion. For those of you that entered the t-shirt drawing giveaway on the Discord, I was going to do it today, but it's just been kind of a madhouse day for me. So I'll sit down with the Minion and we'll draw a winner tomorrow, and we'll announce that on Discord. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're not already a member of Discord and you use Discord, you're welcome to join the Paranormal Portal Discord. We got a bunch of you guys are already over there, but if you're not over there, then you're missing out. So feel free to join. The link is in the description on YouTube, and I don't know. I don't know if it's on Rumble, but I'll put it in there later when we get to that point. So good to see everybody though. Chucky, Chucky. Good to see you, Chucky. I just saw Chucky's name, and the cold medicine made me call you Jimmy Chucky. So I'm kind of speaking in tongues tonight. Yeah, I'm speaking in Sudafed tonight. So I don't know what language that is, but it's the one
spiritual language.
Yeah, exactly. It's the fog of cold medicine is just painting my head. But
straight out of the ether.
Yeah. We got the news coming up, Jimmy. You feel like some news? You ready for some news?
I'm always feeling like some news. Let's do it.
All right, it's time for the news, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dig into the news and find out what the hell I pulled up for you guys. Let's get to it. Starting now. it's funny to me because that music is like this cheesy 70s thing, and I love it. But it's funny, both you and Sheldon both kind of break into moves during that segment. So one of these days I'm going to actually sabotage you guys and put you up on a cam showing you guys jamming out. That's funny. Cracks me up, guys.
See, I'm actually wearing roller skates the entire time I dance to it.
Oh God, that brings back the memories of the 70s. It was a fine decade at the time, but now when you look back on it, it's like, what the hell were we thinking? Not that you were there, Jimmy, but trust me when I say that, man, tastes have sure changed through the years.
In a past life.
In a past
I may have
life.
been like a Gallagher type, probably.
Smashing watermelons.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got to take a drink. I'm drying up quick. All right, so we're going to get to the news, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk, where we're going to dive into some news articles. I think my voice is going to be hamburger by the end of the show, dude. Hold on. Trying to clear out the pipes here. But we're going to get to some news articles I pulled up for your benefit. And hopefully you find these newsworthy and informative, and you leave here knowing things you didn't know when you came in. And if it's things you didn't want to know, I apologize in advance. Some of these are really bizarre, but I think they're pretty straightforward tonight. Nothing too weird. So the first news article of the night is coming from a site that I love, and I can't support it enough. I can't encourage you guys enough to go check it out. It's called unexplained-mysteries.com. And this site is really cool. I just really enjoy it. And they do a really incredible job. It's very current and timely, and I just think they do wonderful. So please support their site. Your traffic does equal, revenue for them from ads and stuff. So it does keep the lights on. And all the shows, or all the sites that we discussed tonight, please visit them and help them out too. All right, so the first article tonight, again from unexplained-mysteries.com. Scientists determine where in the U.S. you're most likely to see a UFO. So Jimmy, right off the bat, you got any place you want to lay a bet on?
I'm gonna guess Kentucky.
Kentucky.
That's my final answer. Yeah. Kentucky bourbon seems like a great place to see a UFO. They go hand in hand.
Yep, sure. I was thinking Florida, like the Gulf Breeze sightings jumped out at me. Yeah, because that's really, really a hot spot for people to go see mysterious lights over the ocean. So let's see what it says, though. God, it's going to be a rough night. Oof. In a new study, researchers put together a map showing the parts of the country where sightings are most common. UFOs seem to be a hot topic these days, and it will come as no surprise that people across the U.S. continue to report sightings of unidentified objects in the sky on a regular basis. But if you've never had an encounter and want to see a UFO for yourself, where exactly should you go? Well, we're going to get to that now. In a new study, researchers from the University of Utah wanted to find out how environmental factors such as cloud cover and light pollution impacted the number of sightings in any given area. Could make sense, right? To this end, it does. They analyzed 100,000 sightings collected by the National UFO Reporting Center, or NUFORCE. I think they're out of Washington State. NUFORCE is. Between 2001 and 2020, and produced a map of UFO hot and cold spots. The resulting map makes it clear that the western part of the United States sees far more UFO sightings than anywhere else. Oh, that's interesting. With the exception of a small section of the northeastern corner. The West has a historical relationship to UAP, Area 51 in Nevada, Roswell in New Mexico, and here in Utah, we have a Skinwalker Ranch in the Uinta Basin, and the military activity in the U.S. Army Dugway Proving Ground, said University of Utah geographer Richard Medina. Plus, there's a robust... Geez, I'm like hitting puberty, Jimmy. Plus, there's a robust outdoor community that recreates in public lands year-round. People are out looking skyward. This is not to say that the prevalence of reports in the west of the country is necessarily down to alien visitation. However, as the study's goal was to look at conventional factors that influence sightings. Even so, the map provides an interesting overview of the distribution of sightings across the states. Well, there's the map. I don't know. You see it on your screen yet, Jimmy?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Wow. That's pretty crazy. I do believe that. And that is, not to discredit it, but that does seem to be where a lot of legal marijuana comes from, too.
The bud factor. I never thought of that. That's true. That is true. However, look at Michigan. It's like nothing. Crickets.
That's true.
Crickets in
And I
Michigan.
don't know, maybe it's just because I'm from Michigan, but I know a hell of a lot of people that have seen UFOs out here.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
And granted, this is based on the sighting reports that they were able to get. So I mean,
Yeah.
you know, here's the thing. I think if everybody just suddenly came out and said, "Hey, I've seen a UFO," I think this map would be incredibly read everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that a lot of paranormal and UFO sightings just go unreported. People just like, I don't want to get into that. You know, they'll be urine testing me at work. You know, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
so I think it's interesting though. But there's some definite cold spots. I don't know what I guess there's neutral spots where there's no reports. But how did they get a cold spot then? You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Right.
There's actually people speaking out against seeing UFOs in those parts.
That's right.
That's pretty crazy too. It covers a lot of the desert, which is kind of just where I imagine UFOs always are.
Right. Yep. And look at Florida too. That's surprising. For all
Yeah.
the Gulf Breeze sightings and stuff, they got nothing. Wow. I don't know. I don't know if I
And then
buy
just
this
a
map.
little over there on the right.
Where in Florida?
No, up at the top.
Oh, and yeah, in Maine
What's that?
and
Yeah.
yeah, in those other states that I don't know because I'm geographically
Yes.
challenged.
I was also struggling there. Yeah, the top part.
The horn on the right. Yeah, exactly. But it is interesting. I don't know. Again, with all the sightings that have come out of Florida, to see nothing on there, it seems really bizarre to me. So, but I'm sure these other areas are duly represented in their reports, but there's just a lot of holes. Even Ohio doesn't have much going on. It's like mostly in Illinois there, and
that's
in
pretty crazy.
Indiana, but nothing in Ohio. And Ohio has everything. That place is a paranormal, vortex. It's crazy. Huh. Well, there you have it. That's the report as they present it. Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? Let me know in the comments or weigh in the chat. What do you guys think? But there you have it. That's the first article tonight. And we're off to the races. Jimmy, do you feel more informed already?
I do feel more informed, yes.
Good, because that's the objective here on the portal. Let's do this one. This one I found interesting, and I know there's a lot of claims coming out of Antarctica of there potentially being ruins or lost civilization down there, or even UFOs that are somehow submerged in the ice or under the ice cap or whatever. So this one I find pretty interesting. I don't know the veracity of the image. It claims to come from Google Maps. So, and you always hear about these things, right, Jimmy? People must have all kinds of free time because these people go and they like comb Google Maps looking for something. And I find that really interesting. I'm going to hit the inhaler quick, Jimmy. There. Hopefully that'll help.
There it is. Just waiting to hear the relief.
You can hear it already. I hope so. I
Yeah.
hope it breaks up what's going on in my throat there. But anyway, this is an interesting article. Let's take a look at it. Again, from unexplained-mysteries.com, Google Maps image allegedly shows a large door in the Antarctic ice. And there's an image. Looks like a door. Looks like a like a supermarket entrance or something there.
Yeah, it does. It looks like the that Oreo vault that they made where they keep the Oreo recipe in.
What?
in the middle of nowhere. It looks like
I
they
don't
did.
know.
A,
I've
this
never
has
heard
got
of
out
this.
there, but
I gotta look
I
this up.
think somewhere they locked away the Oreo recipe in the middle of nowhere. It's like in a snowy, I don't even remember where it is, but it's literally just a door that says Oreo on
Oh, that's
it.
funny. I'm gonna Google that quick. I've never heard of the Oreo vault. Is there images? That's the seed vault. That's not that. What? Oreo asteroid proof doomsday. Are you serious?
Yep, there it is.
No, that's the.
This was a publicity stunt, but
Oh, okay. Because I was like, what? That's I swear that was the seed vault in like
I
Norway or
immediately
something like
took
that.
it as fact.
I did too. I was like, Oreo did that? I don't know. I'm gullible, I guess. I don't know. You had me going, you know.
Up until this moment, when I just fact checked it, I believed this to be a fact.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that is debunked. There is no Oreo vault. The images on and let me just show you the images for all you guys out there looking and going, what the hell are they talking about? There are images apparently depicting the Oreo vault.
There it is.
That
You're
is not
telling me
real.
this doesn't look real immediately?
Oh, it's yeah. I mean, God only knows what goes on in the corporate minds, but yeah, I yeah.
Anyone I've spoken to about this call off your search, I was wrong.
That's all right. It was a good laugh. Thank you. I didn't know about the Oreo vault myth, but that's hilarious. All right, there you go. So anyway, this is some strange. I don't know. Almost looks like a door in the ice in Antarctica. So looks like somebody's been shoveling too. So they must be using it. You know. All right,
That's crazy. What else could it be?
I don't know. Yeah, it's just strange. All right, let's read it and find out after I take a drink quick. This is going to be a long talking night. Oof. The controversial image was recently picked up by the news outlets after being shared on social media. Antarctica has been the focus of a number of conspiracy theories over the years, with claims of secret extraterrestrial bases, ancient pyramids, and other anomalies being nothing unusual. Some argue that this freezing continent is the ideal place for alien visitors to hide their presence, while proponents of alternate history believe that Antarctica could even be the site of Atlantis itself. Ooh. Suffice to say, however, that there is no evidence to support either of those theories. What? That's my surprised face. Now another potential anomaly has been found in the Antarctic ice, this time courtesy of Google Maps. Sleuths who spent hours analyzing images of the region to look for anything unusual, and the image they came up with shows what looks like a large doorway heading deep into the ice, possibly as some sort of secretive underground facility. And they give you the coordinates here, so I'll post the link in all the chats. You can view the precise location on Google Maps here. I guess we could do that. No, that'll launch that, and that'll be a pain in my tail. I've got so much going on my computer. I don't want to like this to be the tipping point, if you will. Like, hey, I'm gonna open Google Maps, crash. So let's not do that. On close inspection, it certainly looks like something is there, but it's possible that what we are actually looking at is a solid block of ice from which the snow has partially cleared. What do you think? Well, I think you guys be the judge. I mean, it could be, but there's no other ice around. You know, in this image, it looks, well, I guess it's important to look at the Google Maps to see what's in the area. Is there anything else in the area that might look like, you know, a portal of some kind or ice or something? But let's copy this. I'll put it in the chats. You guys can check it out. Be the judge. I don't know. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but there's the link. It's in the chats for you guys to check out. You know, it might be the real thing. I don't know. You got an opinion, Jimmy?
I don't know. This one's hard to tell. I mean, it looks like a square, which is why it's hard to say it isn't something man-made, but also it could just, I don't know. I've never been to Antarctica, so that was a tough one for me.
That's true. And most of us haven't, so that's a good point. The
It is on my
world's,
list, but I have not been there yet.
yeah. All right. So, yeah, I don't know what to make of that, folks. I don't know. I don't know. Is Google collecting those by satellite imagery, or, I mean, they don't have the Google car driving down in
It's
Antarctica, do they?
That's the garage for the Google car.
Yeah,
I know that.
it's the Google snowmobile. Yeah, you never know. But there it is. You be the judge. You can look at the coordinates, maybe examine the area of the coordinates a little better to see if there's anything else in there that might tip the hat to what this actually is, or could it be a doorway? Could there be some secretive base down there? There's lots of legends, lots of conspiracy theories about Antarctica, but I don't know whatever. I never know what to think about those kind of things because, I mean, there's conspiracy theories for everything. They can't possibly all be correct, but maybe some of them are. Maybe there's something down there. Wasn't it Colonel Byrd who did the expedition to Antarctica and allegedly encountered UFOs? Are you familiar with that at all, Jimmy?
I have heard the name. Let's see.
Yeah, it's like BYRD. I don't know. I
That's
thought he
why
had.
I'm seeing a lot of birds. BYRD.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. I thought so. I mean, there's still some clarity up in this head. It's not all the fog of cold, but yeah, I think it's interesting. Could it be? I don't know. I mean, God only knows what's possible anyway, but it's an interesting thought. So you be the judge. You got the link. Check it out and weigh in. Let me know if you check it out. Let me know what you think. Again, in the comments, in the chat, whatever. Didn't look like it's natural, maybe stuck in there by a crafty person. That's interesting, John. Maybe. I mean, who knows? I don't know how many people. I think mostly just researchers are down there, scientists and stuff, but maybe somebody's just being snarky and put a door in there. I don't know. Be a hell of a joke. But you be the judge. It would be, wouldn't it? Be like, oh, yeah, you got us. I mean, there's idiots running around in monkey suits in the woods being Bigfoot, so I guess Antarctica isn't necessarily immune to that, other than the ratio of idiots is probably lower there. Just saying.
It's true. And there's people like me who believed wholeheartedly in the Oreo vault, so there's plenty of people out there to believe it.
If there's an Oreo vault, there can sure as hell be bases in Antarctica.
Absolutely.
Or maybe that shouldn't be the way we phrase that. But anyway, that's funny, Jimmy. The Oreo vault. God. Oh, it's just funny. It's a funny weekend. All right, so let's get to the next story because we got a few more. I got two more. I don't know if we'll cover both of them. Let's see how we're doing here. We just got a jam-packed show full of fun and hopefully good entertainment. All right, here we go. This one's a historical UFO account, and it comes out of the UK. And this is, again, from unexplained-mysteries.com. But according to this article, MI6 unit recovered non-human craft 40 years ago, claims ex-paratrooper. Well, there you go. So that's maybe their version of Roswell over there. I don't know. Let's see what it says. A former British Special Forces paratrooper claims that the UK military captured a crashed alien spacecraft in the 1980s. The UK may have its own version of the Roswell incident. Oh, funny you should say that. I honestly don't pre-read these at all, so I don't know. It's weird how much that comes up. But anyway, that is at least, if testimony of Frank Milburn, a veteran of the British Army's elite parachute regiment, is to be believed. In a recent interview with Mail Online, Milburn maintained that he wanted to reveal what he knew in order to support other UFO whistleblowers, such as former U.S. intelligence officer or official David Grush. The story goes that a close friend of Milburn's worked for a secretive unit during the 1980s known as E Squadron, which recruited highly skilled veteran members of the British Special Forces. In one particularly notable incident toward the end of the decade, the group had been called on to investigate the wreckage of a mysterious object that had been shot down over the UK by the RAF. He said they were tasked to secure and retrieve the craft in northern England, said Milburn. That felt better. They were flown in by helicopter, and they established a cordon, a perimeter, and they approached the craft. He didn't describe the craft. He just said it was obvious it was non-human, and it was obvious that there were occupants who had fled the scene on foot or whatever you call it. Could have been flippers. I mean, really. We just don't know. He said then it became a task of tracking down these beings to try to bring them into custody. Around 6 to 8 men were left protecting the craft, he recalled, while the rest were sent out to recapture the alleged alien entities that had fled from the vessel. Whether or not they were ever actually caught, however, remains unclear. Well, there you go. I don't know. There's a lot of questions to be answered on that one, but it's a hell of a report, right, Jimmy?
They could be among us today.
That's the tough part for me. Okay, so you think of these extraterrestrial, these advanced, super advanced, beings that are utilizing technologies that could be hundreds or thousands or millions of years more advanced than ours. And yet they still crash. It's like, really? Don't you ever out technology that kind of stuff? I mean, wouldn't you think? But for some reason,
every civilization has some version of alcohol. You gotta get out of here, man.
or the kids that jack the family car, or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
It's a joyride.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I think you broke it. Run.
Mom's gonna be so mad. We gotta go.
Gorthok's gonna kill us. All right. Well, there you go. I don't know, but it's an interesting report. But again, it's secondhand. This guy didn't have it happen to him. He heard the story from a friend. So I don't know. Take of it what you will. Could it be real? Sure, I think so, but I wouldn't bank on it from that little bit of story. But I wouldn't not bank on it either. I don't know. I'm in the middle on this one, Jimmy. What do you think? Do you think this is maybe legit?
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like most UFO stories where they crash land. It's like they don't recover the body. But then again, if it's somewhat like a Area 51 British version,
right?
Maybe there's some kind of British government organization that has the bodies.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'm sure that every government has the desire to capture these craft and the desire to recover them and any occupants. And God only knows what else they would do, but I'm sure they were all equipped for, taking on this kind of stuff. I mean, just think, even competing nations would go out of their way to try to capture, enemy craft just so they could look at it and examine it and see how they did things and maybe get a hint at, they're developing technologies. So I guess that would hold true for extraterrestrials as well.
Yeah, Maggie said James Bond has it. I believe that immediately. And I hope to see that movie.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be a great movie, James Bond and the captured craft or whatever. It'd be like Flight of the Navigator with James Bond. Do you remember that movie?
Definitely. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I loved that movie back in the day. That was awesome.
I haven't seen it in forever.
Oh, me either, but it just came to my mind like, oh yeah, compliance. All right. Well, that's that story. I don't know. We're spreading the news all over the place here tonight in different topic areas, but well, we got one more to go, so let's do it. Let's get to that one. Ladies and gentlemen, the last article tonight is, this is one I pulled up yesterday and didn't get to. This one kind of reminds me of things. Okay, so I grew up on the shores of the Mississippi River, on a place called Lake Pepin, which is, it's essentially not really a lake. It's just the widest part of the Mississippi, so they call it a lake. I guess it kind of qualifies. It's like a basin, but anyway, there was strange stuff in that water. we would find all kinds of oddities and stuff, and what they're pulling up here doesn't look that alien to me. It looks kind of normal, but we'll see what they say about it in this article. All right, in this article again, unexplained-mysteries.com, string of strange alien egg-like pods pulled from lake in Oklahoma. And there's the image for you guys. What do you think of that, Jimmy?
Oh boy.
What do you mean? It
Can
just
we
looks
show this?
It just looks like Grandpa sneezed. No.
Oh man.
Oh no, that was gross. Sorry. Anyway.
What is that?
I'm telling you, well, I saw things like this all the time in the Mississippi. We called them jellyfish. They never swam, but they were these blobs of gelatin like things in the water. And we would, you'd be stepping, all of a sudden you'd, squish one. And I don't know, they're a strange thing. I think they're just some kind of growth. I don't know, but
That's so weird.
yeah, it is very strange, right?
Was it a freshwater?
Yeah, the Mississippi is freshwater. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm off tonight. I didn't know geography either, so
That's all right.
yeah. Is it a fish egg sac? It looks like maybe it's got eggs in it.
Oh, you're being serious. Sorry, because there was another.
Yeah, no.
There's another story about fish egg sacs, but that's.
It looks like it might have eggs in there.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's freaking tadpoles for all we know. I don't know. Let's see what the article says. It does look weird though. But they look like a gelatin just like what we saw in the Mississippi. So, photographs of these peculiar jelly-like objects were recently shared on social media by state wildlife officials. Found in the McGee Creek Reservoir on the southeast edge of the Ouachita mountain range in Oklahoma, the objects, which seem to be strung together like some sort of alien egg sac, there you go, Jimmy, certainly attracted a fair amount of attention when images were recently shared online. Far from being the unhatched offspring of alien creature, however, these slimy spheres are in fact made up of large numbers of simple aquatic invertebrates known as zooids. Their colonies are commonly known as whatever the hell that bryozoans. Okay. The reason they clump together in such large numbers is to enable them to collectively filter large numbers of tiny food particles from the water, which also helps to clean the lake. Bryozoans are typically found attached to submerged tree limbs and wood debris. If you're out boating somewhere like McGee Creek Reservoir, you might notice these strange jelly-like balls hanging from submerged tree limbs. Local wildlife officials wrote on Facebook, and these are bryozoans, and they'll likely show up in large numbers this summer. Don't be alarmed, these microorganisms are native and are of no danger to you or wildlife. In fact, they are an indicator of a good environmental quality in clear water. Well, there you go. I'm sure that's the same things we saw. You'd pull up an old branch from underwater and there'd be like a jelly clump on it. And I didn't know what they were until right now, though. So that's
clean the
interesting.
water too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. I kind of feel bad that we threw most of them up on the beach when we found them.
They're cleaning the beach now.
Yeah, we thought we were cleaning our lake. Turns out we weren't. But I don't know. That's funny. Anyway, yeah, we also have fights with them, like we throw them at each other. It's just kind of gross, but the difference is in the Mississippi we couldn't see. Like the water is so murky you can't see.
Oh yeah.
So you can maybe get 6 inches of clarity in the water, and then after that it's a kind of a greenish brown mass underneath that.
Yeah.
So, you
I've
have
only
no
ever
idea.
driven over the Mississippi, but yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, it's they call it the Mississippi mud for a reason, right? It's a very sedimentary, and it's coming from a lot of agricultural lands, and I'm sure it's debris, algae and all that stuff. So it's a petri dish all on its own. So there you go. That's maybe you didn't know that before today. I didn't even know that before today. So we maybe all learned something. So anyway, this is going to wrap up the news, folks. Hope you found that entertaining and informative, and give you something to talk about at the water cooler next week, maybe. I don't know. All right, let's get back to the rest of the show. guess I got to change cameras now because we're back at it here. Well, there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed the news. I enjoyed doing it with you. I think my voice actually improved by just talking.
I think it has, yeah.
Yeah, I had to get through that real rough spot, sitting and not speaking much today. So I think I'm flexing them now, and my voice is sounding a little more normal. So thanks for bearing with me. What was I going to do here? Oh, I know one more thing I was going to do. I got to pull up one more thing that still got buried. Okay. All right, I'm just checking on the Rumble chat. I've got that up on my screen as well, along with the YouTube and Twitch chats. So just keeping it. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Rumble user, subscribe and follow us there too, because we're brand new there. If I've had a placeholder over there for a long time, but I've finally started utilizing it, and we are streaming now live to YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble all simultaneously. And if you're a BitChute user, they do get a copy of the episode after it's finished. It gets uploaded over there. So all four of those streaming sites have the Paranormal Portal. So we love your support everywhere, and spread the word, please. All right, so I guess the next thing we're doing, Jimmy, is going to be talking about our Discord. Are you ready to talk about our Discord?
All the time.
All the time. I dream of Discord. Well, good thing, folks. And just to let you know, if you're not already familiar with it, we do have a Discord. And I'm putting the link in the chats right now. It is HTTPS. It's in the description on YouTube. And maybe on Rumble too. No, it's probably not on Rumble. It might be on Rumble too. But it's discord.gg/paranormal portal. Whoops. Oh, portal. And this is the link to our Discord. If you'd like to check it out, that would be lovely. Did it actually post? I'm just waiting for my chat to catch up. I think we should. What do we got here? Certain. I just want to see quick. Yeah, we got some people here. 44 of you. 44 currently. So, Jimmy, you like the Discord? Do you use Discord a lot?
I need to be better about Discord. To be fair, I am very difficult to reach at any given point of the day.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm terrible with group chats, but I do check Discord more than most things. It's probably Reddit is one of the tops, and then Discord is definitely up there too.
Oh, okay, cool. Did you see Portal Mom in the chats at all?
I don't think I have on YouTube.
Okay.
I've been looking at the YouTube tonight.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Because I'm just wondering if my mom's probably out there listening. I just didn't know if she's in the chat, but in either case, love you, Mom. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you all for tuning in. I love you all. But, and so does Jimmy. Jimmy loves you too.
I do. I love you guys.
It's just a love fest here. Not yet, Brent. Okay, thanks, Chucky. All right, so we're going to dive into the Discord, ladies and gentlemen, and what the question of the week is every week, Chucky Danger, who's been incredibly helpful and amazing in keeping this ball rolling, posts a question to our Discord community that you guys can weigh in on, and that it'll be about the paranormal. Could be about cryptids, UFOs, strange phenomena, ghosts, spirits, etc. So it'll encompass some part of what we discuss on the shows, but it's your opportunity to sound off. And please don't ever worry like, I could tell you what I think, but I feel like it might be dumb. There's no dumb in this, because none of us know anything truly about the mechanics of what's going on with this strange phenomenon. This is your chance to share your thoughts, and you could be just as right as anybody, and we don't know. I just love the fact that so many of you guys come in with these whole new perspectives that I never would have considered, and I find that absolutely incredible. It's like, oh, wow, and oftentimes after we read through these, I'm like, that's fascinating, really cool. So it's your chance to sound off and let us know what you think about this stuff. Even if you don't think much about it, like I think it's a bunch of bunk. Well, that's fair enough. Not everybody's, going to believe in every phenomena or subscribe to all ideas of the paranormal, and that's okay. It's not, it's not a club of nods. It's just be yourself. So I love this segment. And again, thanks to Chucky Danger for keeping it going and posting all these incredible questions. So I guess this is a great time to start. So let's do this first, though, because by God, we got to have this. All right, and narrating this portion of the show will be Mr. Jimmy. Take it away, Jimmy.
Hello, everybody. All right, question of the week from Chucky. Two-part question this week. Many people have described seeing a mirage-like figure that seems to almost perfectly blend in with its surroundings. This is commonly called the Glimmer Man, often depicted as being like the Predator from the movies. Part 1, what do you think the Glimmer Man is? And Part 2, do you think the stories of the Glimmer Man go back further than the Predator movie, or is this more current? Excellent question, as always. I have heard of this. All right, From Within, probably beyond the movie. I've heard that some beings of nature do this too. That's a good point, yeah. I've heard of this before.
Chucky. Hold on, Jimmy. I'm sorry. Chucky, is this a new question? Or is this one we already covered?
Is it?
I don't know. I'm looking. Not yet, Brand. Oh, that was okay. Is this?
I didn't see it.
No, I swear I've covered this before. Chucky, if you're out there, thought we did this one. John Temperance said we already done this.
Yeah,
question.
Maggie too.
Chucky, what happened? Oh, demerits issued.
Oh no. Oh no.
Didn't this one not get read yet? No, we read it last week, last Saturday. All right. So anyway, feel free to join our Discord. Yeah. I didn't know that, guys. I'm sorry. I should have checked on that. It's okay, Chucky. Honestly, you've been amazing with this, and I don't know. It's these things happen, so don't worry about it. It's fine. But this is the Discord question of the week. We already did cover this one, so rather than rehashing what we've already discussed, Chucky's getting razzed.
Oh, Chucky, it's okay. You can say that you didn't want to hear me read out loud this week. I will completely understand.
No, it's groovy, brother. Don't worry about it. That's funny. It's okay, Chucky. We still love you, Deb says. Chucky, turn in your D-hole. Do you know the D-hole story, Jimmy?
No.
Yeah, that's kind of portal lore. So the D-hole story, I read this article about this animal, and it's spelled D-H-O-L-E. And I was like, the hell's a D-hole? But I read the whole article saying D-hole. And then I came to find out later, I think it was our chat that pointed it out, that it's actually pronounced dole. So the D-hole is now famous, and it's also on the wall behind me. There's a footprint that Chucky had CNC made into a metal plate, and he powder coated it. So the D-hole is kind of legendary here on the portal. All right, so we're gonna skip that, the question of the week. But thank you to everybody that's participated in these, and thank you to our community for continually being involved. And we'd love to see more of you guys join. So I'm going to look at the general tab real quick and just see what's been going on. I guess I could explain briefly about our Discord for those of you that might not be real familiar with it. This is what Discord looks like. This is the Paranormal Portal channel. And these on the left are all the different channels. And you can find Discord channels everywhere. I mean, they're just thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of them out there. But this is ours. And so you join. When you initially join, you're going to be in the general tab here. And this is where it's going to announce you to everybody, like, hey, so-and-so joined. And you'll get automated, hello messages from everybody clicking to say hello and whatever. But to navigate Discord is really pretty easy. These are the threads on the left margin here. And you just look at the different threads that you're interested in. So again, we're going to do a giveaway tomorrow. I do a monthly t-shirt giveaway on our Discord community as well. So if you want to qualify for that, you do have to join, and then you have to weigh in when I make the announcements every month to enter. But there's Discord tutorials here. If you're not familiar, you can click on these, and that'll bring you to a thread of different videos that'll walk you through how to use Discord. There's the question of the week, which is where we just were. General, again, you've already heard about that. There's specific episode discussions that go on here. Bigfoot, Dogman, ghosts, UFO, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptids, and even music, which I love this because a lot of people have posted some really eclectic stuff I never would have found. Eclectic, rather. And I think it's phenomenal. Then there's Strange Phenomena, Paranormal Library, people recommending books and things dealing with the paranormal, and then movies, paranormal movies. So people post about those. So it's a great discussion. There's voice channels as well. You're welcome to use those. It doesn't, it's not reserved for anything special. It's just for your use. If you guys want to chat instead of type, you sure can. But anyway, this is our Discord community. We'd love to have you be a part of it. The link is in the chats. I don't know if I ever made one for Rumble. Let me do that quick. https://discord.gg. Did I do that right? Yeah. And then /paranormal portal. God, I just love Discord. It's just really cool. So there's the way to joins. Ever been hit by a cattle prod? Our chat is so random.
I love it.
Have you ever been hit by a cattle prod, Jimmy?
No, I've been branded by a seatbelt on a hot summer day. That's about the closest I've come.
Did it look like a big letter D?
It left a D hole, to be exact.
Since we're kind of like walking around that topic tonight. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, Chucky says he's been cattle prodded. He said, I grew up in a redneck. Yeehaw, brother. Yeehaw. I didn't know they had those up in Canada. No, I'm just kidding. Chucky's Canadian, as is Rachel. Chucky. Yeah, we like Canadians. I grew up in Minnesota, and that's like Canada Light is what I always call it.
Oh yeah, we're very close over here. We have the Detroit casinos, and then you go right across the river to the Windsor casinos.
Windsor and Sarnia. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I made many.
You don't win it either.
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't build nice casinos because people are winning.
Yeah, very true.
That's the big takeaway. It's like, God, this place is nice. Wonder why. Yeah, let's start gambling. No. I mean, if you like to gamble, good for you. As long as you do it responsibly and, mind your money. It's good. It's good entertainment. If you got disposable incomes, have a good time. But anyway, I guess we'll move to the article that I pulled up to discuss next because, well, we can. This is a UFO article, and this one is coming from the Wayback Machine. It's from a site called How and Wise, and this is a site that's primarily, I think, maybe owned, but it's at least all of the articles are usually attributed to a gentleman named Vicky Verma, and he does a hell of a job. It's just a really well done site, and you can find a whole load of UFO information over there on howandwise.com. And I can't, again, it's every site that we use on the shows. I really do recommend them. I don't revisit sites unless they're really worth the time. And this is one of those that really is. So this one is from a 1973 report, and it continues to allegedly, I'm not even sure I'm familiar with this. I saw the headline. I'm like, God, that sounds cool. 1973 U.S. Army helicopter incident is most credible UFO encounter, even discussed in the United Nations. That's pretty cool. I'm not familiar with this at all. Are you, Jimmy?
No.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what it's going to say. This article's from 3 years ago again by Vicky Verma, and the site is howandwise.com. It says, for a long time, The governments of powerful nations have been trying to remain silent on the mysteries behind alien encounters and UFO sightings. After the Roswell incident, the number of UFO sightings has increased very much. Or we can say that people got aware of this phenomena. Although UFO sightings reported in the past few decades have always been doubtful. Wonder why that is. Maybe just because there's so many of them? I don't know. The Coyne case, I assume that's Coyne, Coyne, is the most credible UFO incident that even was discussed in the United Nations in 1978. And I love this about How and Wise is they also have links to relevant articles right on the front end of this. So that's cool. You can reference a lot of other stories. Excuse me, hold on. So it says in October 18th, 1973, 4 crew members of the United States Army Reserve encountered an unidentified flying object at 11:05 p.m. while returning from Columbus to Cleveland, Ohio, in Army Helicopter 68. That says -15444. That's a lot of numbers. The crew members, Captain Lawrence Coyne, pilot in command, Lieutenant Arrigo Josie, co-pilot SSG, I don't know what that means. Is that like Staff Sergeant? Robert Janicek, Crew Chief Staff Sergeant John Healy reported that the near midair collision happened at about 2,500 feet when flying over Mansfield, Ohio. There you go, Ohio. Major Coyne told the reporters in 1975, "We were flying along at about 2,500 feet when the crew chief on the helicopter observed a red light on the east horizon. He then informed me that the light was closing on the helicopter and it was coming at us on a collision course." That's got to be terrifying, especially in a helicopter. Right, Jimmy?
Yeah, you can't really get out of the way in a helicopter very quickly, can you?
No, and if something stops those blades, you just instant brick. Like a plane, you can maybe glide it down and make it okay, but you know, with a helicopter, it's like, oh, gravity. That's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Man, especially at 2,500 feet. And there's an image of the gentleman there, Lieutenant Colonel, what was his name? Lawrence Coyne. Okay. Coyne said that the object was approaching them like a missile, even when they descended the helicopter to get away from the collision path. They prepared themselves for a collision, but the UFO stopped above them. It looked like we were going to collide with it, and we braced for impact, and then I heard the crewman in the back say, "Look up!" And I observed this craft stop directly in front of us. Stopped. It was hovering right above the helicopter, Coyne said. Yikes. That's a whole lot of real. As the UFO hovered over the Army helicopter, the crew noticed a bright green light coming from the object that swung 90 degrees and centered on their cabin, or entered into their cabin, rather. Coyne said that it was so bright that their red navigation lights faded in it. The whole cabin and faces of the crew members were in the bright green light. At first, all the members thought it was just some high-performance aircraft, but when it stopped above them, they noticed that it was a cigar-shaped object, 60 feet long and 20 feet high. According to the description of the unknown craft given by Coyne and other crew members, its shape had similarities with the ship mentioned in George Adamski, his case. During the encounter, the Army Reserve helicopter was at 1,700 feet, but when the object started moving slowly toward the west, Coyne found changes in altimeter, and in seconds they were at 3,500 feet. Ooh, they got shifted. Wonder if they got missing time.
They got shifted 1,000 feet?
I guess so, yeah. Like in
That's
a heartbeat.
terrifying.
Right. That is terrifying. Jesse remembered that the craft was moving faster than the 460 kilometer per hour, but lesser than 1,000 kilometers per hour, as other witnesses claimed. They all felt turbulence at 3,800 feet, And after that, they got back the helicopter's control. They descended to 2,500 feet and continued to Cleveland. Wow. The Mansfield National Guard Tower confirmed that they had no recordings of any contact with Coyne that night, and also there was no aircraft during that time. This incident damaged the magnetic compass of the Army helicopter so badly that the maintenance team had to replace the entire unit with a new one. This incident got international credibility from the eyewitnesses on the ground who watched the whole show. In fact, the Army could not stop Coyne and his crew members to discuss their UFO encounter in the United Nations in 1978. I had to cough, sorry. In 1999, a retired NASA scientist named Richard Haynes created the National Aviation Reporting Center on Anomalous Phenomena, or NARCAP. Is that what they give to people overdosing?
I believe so, yeah.
Or something very similar. For documentation and analysis of aviation safety, related encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAP. Out of all the UAP analysis by Haynes and his team, the Coyne incident topped the chart in credibility. He said, I think the Coyne case ranks very, very high in credibility, and one reason is Coyne's reputation as a good pilot before this happened, and his courage. The fact that he was willing to come forward with this very bizarre story and to stand by it says an awful lot. And he would give encouragement to other pilots to do the same. If everybody remains silent, we're never going to get to the bottom of this. Well, that's true. You got to know an event is happening in order for it to get any weight. So I don't know. I guess they were probably in like some kind of Huey or something. That's interesting. I don't know. Wouldn't you think though that the tower would have been able to see? Look, it just changed altitude by 1,000 feet, right?
That's always what I question in situations like this. Aren't they just straight up connected to the like every one of their moves is just documented and connected to the tower?
Yeah, it should be, unless they didn't get that kind of telemetry for whatever reason. But I mean, the crew definitely knew, hey, we're 1,000 feet higher than we were a second ago. Oops.
I guess anything over 1,000 feet initially probably just all looks the same. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. But they get really meticulous in their instructions. Like, aircraft so and so move to 6,500 feet. Traffic coming from the west or whatever. They seem to know how high people are and where they need to position. But this is 1973, so maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's I guess worth considering as well. But interesting story. I didn't know anything about this one.
No, this is the first I've heard of this, and it's as usual terrifying.
Yeah. I think the big thing is I just can't help but wondering, what do they want? What are they doing?
I know, because sometimes it seems just observational, but other times it just, the missing time and the missing altitude, stuff like that is where you're like, what are they doing in this? Like, it's clearly not just observational.
Right.
But they took the time to blurt this out of your memory.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And they seem to be able to do that as well and memory wipe them. I mean, who knows what that green light was? I mean, oftentimes, we see these UFOs and we say, oh, it had bright lights. And we just consider it just some kind of illumination. But I really believe that whatever these lights are, it's their technology. Like they were being, thoroughly scanned, or, the UFO I saw, it was emitting light. But maybe that was how it was just floating there silent. I don't know. I have no idea, but I don't think it's decoration is my point. We just think of it as like ornamental, but it's certainly not that. And they probably don't need them to see with. So, it's got to be having some other function. I don't know. Just crazy stuff, man. It's just hard to imagine how wide the chasm is between us and these beings, whatever they are, wherever they're from. It's got to be enormous.
Yeah. And also, I'm sure there are tons of different kinds out there.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. I was just past an article earlier, and I maybe should have pulled it up, but I'll have to see if I can find it again. But something like a professor claims that it might be Avi Loeb, that claims this, but he said there's like, possibly a trillions of extraterrestrial craft flying through the universe at any given time. It's like, I don't know how you get to that math anyway, because it's like, well, what do you gauge that on? It's
Yeah.
like, but I imagine if these are, robust, possibly interstellar, or what's the solar system kind of technologies, then yeah, they'd always be traveling, kind of like our, our highways, I guess. But it's an interesting thought, all the same.
Yeah. I mean, it could even be like there's a game I play, No Man's Sky, where you can literally just shoot your ship in any direction and you just see a planet and you're like, oh, let's land there. It could just be that every single day, hundreds of times.
Yeah, yeah, it could be, it could be. I think, I don't know. I just have to wonder if maybe there's some merit in the idea that, and I'm not taking anything away from religion and creation and all of that, but perhaps they did help to engineer our us. Like, again,
Yeah.
there seems to be ancient references that are at least compelling to consider, that maybe we've been visited many times through the development of our cultures and histories, and maybe they helped us along. Just kind of, you might want to start, instead of going out and picking wild stuff, just plant your own. Maybe they taught agriculture. Maybe they, really helped to shape, our ideas of civilization. Because we were
Yeah.
mostly, and historically, people were nomadic, or at least, tribal, and would have areas, but, it seems like there were some places on the earth that were so far advanced to what the rest of the cultures were developing, around them, and in regions, like, those ancient sites where these possibly big stones have been moved into position, and feats that couldn't even be duplicated today, given the size and the sheer volume of these rocks and blocks that were carved. And who knows? But anyway, that rabbit
Yeah.
hole is incredibly deep.
It is. I really like the theory that we were a different, or that we are an alien species that was dropped here and we're just catching up to where they were. They were like, a species that was going out of town on their world, came over here, they're like, we gotta throw some seeds down and wait till they evolve.
Honey, did you bring the monkey seeds? Yeah, it's like,
Yeah. Just
yeah,
threw them in the ocean.
yeah, just throw them in there. They start out as fish, and it goes forward from there. Yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, we're you remember those sea monkeys you used to be able to buy in the back of comic books? Yeah, that's us.
Yep.
That's how we started. You never know.
Yep.
I mean, God only knows, but there's the idea also that maybe our ancestors were from somewhere else, and this is where we ended up due to any number of reasons: war, cataclysm, etc. And so we just settled here. Who knows?
Yep.
It's just weird that even though these really advanced things have happened, and things have been found that don't seem to match the technological abilities of the time, like, machined aluminum by mastodon skulls and things like that, things that don't make sense, but for some reason all of that advancement was kind of wiped, and there was like a reboot. And I say that often on the shows, but you know we don't even know how the pyramids were built for sure, and this is 8 to 10 or 20,000 years old. Who knows how they did it? But they were supposed to be basically just dragging rocks around and building these intricate structures. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe it just gets to be some kind of revolution. Anytime society gets advanced enough to start creating like social media,
Right.
everybody's like, destroy it, get rid of it, start breaking it.
Well, there's the idea that perhaps we are known in the galaxy as a very destructive race. So we were kind
Yeah.
of brought here as a kind of a prison planet, for lack of a better term.
It's a punishment. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like the wardens, keeping an eye on us, and they're the guards, making sure we don't step too far. But it's interesting, all the same. And I'm not suggesting that any one of those is the right scenario. I just know those are the questions. So
Yeah, and they're all compelling to dive into too. I love getting into this kind of thing because it's like, nobody really has the answers. I love thinking about it from any angle.
yeah, exactly. I mean, we just don't know. Just like the question of the week, we just don't know.
We just don't know. Doodly-doodly-doodly-doodly.
Doodly doo. There you go. All right. Well, let's see where we're at with the time. Oh, we're at 8:10. That's a good time to dive into some cryptids. What do you think?
Oh yeah.
Are you
Let's
ready,
dive
Jim?
away.
Dab away. Dabble away, dab away. I got one more from Sasquatch Chronicles we're going to dive into. And then we're gonna spend some time in Phantoms and Monsters, Lon Strickler's site. I did pull up some Dogman stories because it's a topic that we haven't discussed a ton on the show, but it's one that I'm incredibly interested in as well. I just, don't really find as many references to Dogman as we do Bigfoot. There's so many sites that have so much, but we're gonna dive into Dogman in a bit. But we're gonna start with Sasquatch Chronicles here and start our journey. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, Sasquatch Chronicles is Mr. Wes Germer's site. It's an amazing site. It's the name of his podcast, obviously, but check out the blog over there because he posts a lot of incredible links and information, as well as listener emails. And that's what I like to pull up because I think those are great because, again, oftentimes they're not made into episodes, but they're still incredible encounters. And I think they're wonderful to discuss. So, let's get to the one that we have left today, and then we'll move over to Phantoms and Monsters. So this one is from Sasquatch Chronicles blog, March 12th, Encountering Sasquatch in Kentucky. There you go, Kentucky.
There was a call that I knew we'd hit Kentucky at some point tonight.
You knew it. You were absolutely right, sir. All right, a listener writes, I have had several encounters with Bigfoot since I was a young child in central Kentucky, beginning in 1978. The first time was Valentine's Day. It had snowed, and I was taking Valentine cards to put in my neighbor's mailbox. Well, as I turned to walk back home, I saw huge footprints in the snow, and what intrigued me was they were not offset like a human's footprints, but they were one right in front of the other. And that's a great take because, interestingly enough, they allegedly walk like they're on a tightrope. There's one foot right in front of the other one. It's not a staggered step like if you look at a person's footprints, one left, one right. But anyway, the next encounter was around 1980 in the springtime, and I was playing in the front yard with my dog. And we're right by a big wood line, and I fell down on the ground laughing as we played. I looked straight up, and there was a humongous brown Sasquatch looking down at me. He was every bit of 9 feet tall. My dog did not bark, did not yelp. It just turned and ran, and my dog was not afraid of anything. This creature looked down at me in a cross between curiosity and happiness. It was very majestic. It then turned and walked right back into the woods. There are many more details to these stories, and I'll look forward to perhaps talking about them with you. If you'd like to set something up, feel free to get in touch. Yeah, that's fascinating.
I love the idea of the dog not saying anything and just be like, peace, getting out of there. You're on your own, buddy.
He's just ditched. And that's the funny thing about dogs, and we hear that stories so often. These people will have these fearless dogs. They are just ferociously protective of their property. But this one guy had like 2 Rottweilers, and they were just incredibly protective of the property. But he started hearing these sounds and seeing eye shine from the woods and weird stuff like that, and knocks and other things. And he noticed that his dogs were nowhere to be found when these things were happening. And he looked through his whole house because this was so uncharacteristic of them. And he found them tucked as far beneath his bed as they could get, just cowering and whining, like whimpering, but very quietly. And that to me is pretty incredible because dogs are just incredibly protective, but
Extremely territorial, yeah.
right. And I don't know if that's an infrasound thing, if they're reacting to the infrasound, or if they maybe just instinctually know This is the do not mess with right here. Just get away, get away, get away. Maybe they know
Yeah.
they're on the food chain because there's lots of stories of people's dogs going missing first when a Bigfoot moves into an area, or something like that. It could be a Dogman, could be Bigfoot, could be, some type of creature like that. But pets are always the first big indicator. It's like if you got a lot of missing pets in your area, it could be coyotes, depending on the size of your pets and stuff, but it could also maybe be a Sasquatch. But coyotes don't tree knock or whoop or leave large footprints. So,
That's true. Did you hear my dog just started going off when we started talking about this?
No, I didn't. I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
at all.
Remy's going nuts right now.
That's
That's how I know it's not a Sasquatch. She
No.
would leave me high and dry.
Yeah, you should be in a pretty safe zone there.
Yeah.
Beautiful area though. I love where you're at. That's a really neat place.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it up here. We got a nice little log cabin house feel up here.
Yeah, you do, and it's you've done an amazing job up there.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I think it's wonderful. I'm looking forward to my next journey up there.
You got to come up.
I would
Yep,
love
get
to,
the hot
brother.
tub ready.
Oh, that's good. At least I won't displace as much water this time. All right, so that was the Sasquatch Chronicles story. All right, we're going to dive into Phantoms and Monsters now, and I got to go, I think it's here. This is the first one. I got two. No, this isn't it. I know they're here. I know they're here somewhere. There's one, and this is the other one then, right? Yes. Okay, I got two stories from Phantoms and Monsters. Then we'll get into other cryptids on Phantoms and Monsters, including Bigfoot and some other strange ones. We'll get to whatever we have time to get to. Let me look at the time. I wonder if Bigfoot release specific pheromones for a specific prey animal, different for different species or different for different predator animals they come across. That could be a good point. I know dogs mark their territory by scent. So is it possible that something similar is going on with the Bigfoots and the dogs just know I can't protect my territory from this? That's a good point,
Yeah.
Rachel. Yeah. Yep.
Or if it could even be, if they're ancient creatures, it could even be something as primal as a cat is afraid of a cucumber thinking it's a snake. Maybe it's just ingrained in animals knowing that it's a predator.
Yeah, that's true. Those cucumber videos are funny. I've tried it with my cats, and they didn't care at all. They didn't care at all. No, my cats apparently lost that fear somewhere in their genetic line. But let's see. Wildman's mom says, "Yep, I told my forest brothers don't eat our family members, and I marked them. Only cat lost was shot by my neighbor over roosters." Oh dear. Jeez.
It's terrible.
Yeah, those kind of neighbors suck.
Absolutely.
Oh God. I can't imagine the rage I would feel if somebody shot my animal. Be like,
I know. Over roosters?
yeah, over a rooster. It's like, really? I'm pretty sure a rooster can defend itself just fine anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, from a house cat. Roosters are tough and brutal. Those things are.
Yeah.
They got those foot spikes, and they can put them right in an eye in a heartbeat.
I know. I have a couple friends that have them, and they will fight humans.
Oh yeah. They're just fearless. So I don't know. That seems like your neighbor's just a dick, for the record.
Yeah.
That's horrible though. That's horrible. All right, so the first story we're going to dive into again is from phantomsandmonsters.com. And Cheddar Steve, is there any Bigfoot stuff? Yes, there is, Cheddar Steve. Yes, there is. Hope you're still here. I just got to respond on Discord because I think I'm the only one there.
I love the name Cheddar Steve.
You know that name?
I love that name.
Oh, it sounds familiar to me from some reason.
It sounds delicious.
Steve with cheddar. I'm not sure about your diet there, Jimmy.
I've been dieting. Anything sounds delicious right now.
I like my Steves in cheddar. Yeah. Unless that's, cash, then, I'm with you. All right. So Phantoms and Monsters is where we're going next. This is Lon Strickler's site. And if you're into the cryptids, into the 40 and stuff, and into all the strange and unusual, check out phantomsandmonsters.com. Lon does a hell of a job. He's been at this for decades. He also has a podcast called Phantoms and Monsters Radio, and you can find that on YouTube. I don't know where else he's hosted that show, but I know you can find that on YouTube. And Lon's a really great guy. He's also has several books that he's published, and you can find all that information for all of his shows and books and more on phantomsandmonsters.com. So please check it out. The first story that we're going to read is from phantomsandmonsters.com, and this is Wednesday, March 20th, 2024, not too long ago. This was posted, and the story is My Grandpa's Michigan Dogman Encounters. There you go. Jimmy, you ever hear about Dogman stories in Michigan?
Constantly, especially up in the UP. Yeah, people, everybody seems to have a Dogman story up in the UP.
Yeah, it's big stuff over there.
Yeah.
You
I know
know?
it's terrifying. Especially like the UP is just, I mean, there's a lot of places you go where it is just pitch black. So
Yeah.
as soon as I am in those areas, it's like, okay, here come the Dogman stories popping into my head.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I think some of the earliest reports of Dogman sightings actually comes from Michigan, and that's kind of why it's got the moniker, the Michigan Dogman.
Yeah.
It was from the 1800s by some lumberjacks. They apparently ran into this werewolf-looking thing, and I think they might have coined it. I don't know if they coined the term Dogman or where that term came from, but that's the first known report that I'm aware of a Dogman, and it's Michigan. So
It is one of my favorite cryptid names because it's just,
it's
you
just,
can't really misinterpret it.
yeah, and werewolf was already taken by Hollywood. So
Yeah.
what else was there?
Some kind of dog man.
A Michigan man recalls his grandpa's Dogman encounter stories while he worked for the Forest Service in Manistee National Forest. Do you know where Manistee is?
I absolutely do. Yeah, I've been there. That's a good one. Manastee's very cool.
Is that upper or lower peninsula?
It's up. Let me check actually.
Okay.
I've been there. I haven't been there in years, but
Sure.
Manistee, I know I've been there.
Okay. Well,
Let's see. Oh, it's on the west side.
oh, okay. Gotcha. So it's just adjacent to Wisconsin then, yeah?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Lon says, I received the following account, and I decided I would share some of my grandfather's stories. He told me about his time working as a forester in Michigan's Manistee National Forest. He never got a chance to write any of his experiences down, so I thought I might post them here. I'm so glad that he did, because you think of all the stories that have just been lost to time. All
Yeah,
the
exactly.
things people have seen. Not just about the weird and unusual, but just knowledge. Just things like that. And it seems a tragedy that so many stories never get told. For some background, my grandpa started working in the Manistee area in 1949 when he was 28 years old. Before then, he had been drifting around the region doing odd jobs in logging until he was hired by the Forest Service in the northwest part of Michigan's Lower Peninsula. There you go. The work, as I understand, was slow most days. He and his crew were sent to different parts of the forest to address various tree and land concerns. Grandpa was always an avid outdoorsman, and he enjoyed hunting and fishing just about as much as anyone in the region. Sadly, he died in December of 1998, yes, when I was still rather young, but I remember whenever we went to visit him, Grandma, he would sit my brother and me down and tell us about his days in the Forest Service. Working outside every day allowed him to witness all sorts of wildlife, like black bears, whitetail, foxes, even bobcats back in those days. And he often relived his encounters with bears while he was deep in the forest, telling us that those moments were some of the most memorable of his life, being up close to such a beautiful and powerful animals. Usually his tales were exciting, and the enthusiasm in which he told them inspired us to go into the backyard and look for animals in between the pine trees. Although there wasn't much wildlife around Grandma and Grandpa's property, they still always kept a close eye on us and never let us wander too far from the house. Well, finally, a few years before his death, Grandpa deemed my brother and me old enough to be told why. I was about 9 and my brother was about 11 when Grandpa first opened up about the strangest things that have ever happened to him. All our childhoods, we had heard him go on and on about the peace that the wilderness brought him, or used to bring him, but this time his tone was completely different. I don't remember all the details, but I asked my brother to help piece together Grandpa's story, and my dad as well. He too had heard of the experiences in question multiple times. It was the mid-50s, and he never gave the exact year. And October had rolled in behind cool autumn breezes and the sound of Canadian geese flying southward. The first of his strange stories had occurred at night. He was driving home from a local bar wherein he and his crew had spent the last few hours after work. It was a windy night, and the pines on either side of the road were blowing ferociously. No moon or stars could be seen through the thick cloud cover. So the only illumination of the road ahead came from Grandpa's headlights. By his reckoning, he must have been going close to 50 miles per hour at the very moment when something huge leaped across the road not 20 feet ahead of him. His headlight had shown the animal's silhouette, and it was a dog-shaped but massive, almost stretching all the way across the road. It only made one bound to get from one side to the other, and its size alone was enough to unnerve Grandpa. At the time, he had assumed that the animal was just a very large wolf, except timber wolves hadn't been spotted in that region for decades. He considered it a bizarre encounter, but nothing came of it that night, and he was able to return home without anything else strange happening to him. The second of his stories admittedly frightened me enough to avoid going outside at night for years. Even now, I'm wary of noises in the dark because of the obvious fear in Grandpa's voice when he told us of his second experience. Some details were provided by my dad. It occurred in the same month as his first encounter, only a few weeks later, on a night that was pretty cold for the season. It might have hit 40 degrees, but it was a calm night with little wind. Grandpa's house at the time was really small, and it stood in a lot with about 6 other similarly sized and built edifices. None of his neighbors tended to stay up very late, so it surprised him to be awakened by loud noises at 1 a.m. They sounded like scratching on sheet metal, with occasional thumps and bumps like an animal was trying to get in. Grandpa apparently got up, fetched a flashlight, put on his boots, and went out into the front room, the walls of which consisted of mosquito screens stretched between wooden framework. Once in the front room, Grandpa could hear the sounds more clearly, and they were coming from the nearest of his neighbors' homes, maybe 50 yards to his right. It was incredibly dark out there with no street lights to illuminate. The neighbor's house had a porch light on, but Grandpa couldn't make out what was creating the racket through the screen. So he slowly opened the front door and looked out. He described to us in great detail the animals that he saw there, and he always said he would remember them exactly as they were, for fear brands memories the strongest. 3 massive dogs covered in long black hair were up against his neighbor's house, scratching at the siding and making visible claw marks with every swipe. Each beast stood about 7 feet tall, and their front legs stretched for another 2 or 3 feet, and easily reaching the roofing and the gutter of the house. Their scratching, however, did not make it seem that they were trying to get into the house. As Grandpa explained, he thought that they were doing that to get whoever was inside to come out. The next part was actually the hardest to get out of Grandpa. It was strange that he was so eager to tell us everything thus far, despite how he felt about the subject, but he was rather hesitant, as I remember, to divulge the last horrifying details of this encounter. He claims that the animals then noticed that he had emerged from his own house, just across the lawn, for each one turned to look straight at him, just 50 yards away. They had pointed ears like a wolf's and huge bodies that rivaled large black bears in size. And they also supported themselves not with 4 legs, like any other mammal, but instead they stood on 2 legs each, towering 7 feet above the ground. The sounds that they proceeded to make, Grandpa had said would haunt his dreams for the rest of his life. It was a shame that he could neither produce recordings nor accurately mimic the unwolf-like screams the animals made. For that detail always fascinated me the most about his story. They didn't sound like foxes, coyotes, or bobcats. Instead, they forced half-scream, half-howls out of their jaws that Grandpa was sure held the teeth of a carnivore. Grandpa never told us exactly what happened next. I guess we assumed that he ran inside, locked the doors, and didn't look outside until morning. He would tell us that 4 of his neighbors, including the elderly couple that lived in the nearest house, didn't stick around very long. He did say that he tried to talk to them about what had happened that night, but they remained evasive and never gave him any straight answers. Sorry, my eye's burning. Apologize. That turned out to be somewhat ironic because Grandpa himself kept tight-lipped about many of the details of these stories. He would say that he heard those exact screams on 2 other occasions, both times when he was in the Manistee Forest. And he showed us an old Forest Service report detailing a possible timber wolf sighting in the area, complete with photographs of a huge padded paw prints in the mud. Ay. Sorry. Ay. And it goes on to say the thing is, Grandpa never told anyone his stories but most trusted family, which is unique among Michigan Dogman witnesses. After the craze that Steve Cook's Legend song stirred up in the 80s, it's no wonder so many stories from the region surfaced. I had heard a few bits and pieces about the so-called monster before Grandpa told his tale, but it wasn't until later in life that I realized his encounters had to have been with the same creature. Whether I believe him that massive wolves walk upright through Michigan forests, well, I'm still not so sure, but as a modern zoological curiosity, the stories of strange beasts from a passionate woodsman who knew his wildlife certainly remain among the most remarkable I've heard. Simply because of the genuine emotion with which he related his tales. Legends like these might just be figments of our collective imagination, so all I can do is present what I've heard and let others judge for themselves what is real and what is pure fiction. Anyway, as the song goes, don't go out at night. Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
That is crazy.
Could you imagine you're in your house, chilling out, relaxing, and you hear this obnoxious scratching on the side of your house? What would you do?
Probably investigate it until I saw it was a 7-foot-tall Dogman.
And you got to wonder, what did they want him to come out for? Obviously not just to
that's
say
the other
hello.
thing too.
You know?
They don't seem, when I hear the Dogman stories, they don't seem as intelligent as like the Sasquatch stories, where they've got as much of a figured out agenda as much as maybe they're just hungry.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, they seem more vicious and a little more feral and less organized.
Yeah, I think they seem to be, much more reactionary. But It is interesting to me. What the interesting part is that he'd never seen it or experienced anything until suddenly one darted across the road, and it was only a short time later that he had this experience looking out at his neighbor's house.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the odds?
Yeah.
It sounds calculated, right?
That is true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Where he's like, they're on to me, boys. We got to get this guy.
Yeah, exactly. I think he lives here. Oh, wrong house. That's it.
Yeah. Let's just scratch on one until he comes out.
I can smell him around here somewhere. It's got to be this one. Yeah, it's just nobody's home at that house. But yeah, that's creepy. I don't know. I can tell you that of the two, whether a Dogman or a Bigfoot, I would much rather encounter a Bigfoot because it does seem...
I'd rather encounter Bigfoot.
Even though in both cases, generally people see them, get terrified, But it seems like the Bigfoot are less aggressive, at least initially, whereas Dogmen just seem to just like, zero in on it and want to, scare the absolute stuffing out of you.
And
So
the Bigfoot, at least, it looks like it might be an intelligent being, but the Dogman just seems like it's going to be a vicious predator.
yes, yes, it really does, doesn't it? I don't know. I mean, again, there's not, as far as I know, many reports of encountering a dogman that attacks somebody. Now, I'm not saying that that isn't what happens, because even around here, and most people chalk it up as a bear encounter, which it probably was, but a woman was found, mauled by something with very sharp claws. And there's been regions where people have lost like horses, other livestock, and then, pets, all kinds of stuff. And could it be a big cat? Maybe. Certainly they're everywhere as well, but I don't know. It's just weird to think that we might be on the menu.
Yeah, we definitely are. Especially like if you go up into the UP, I think you're pretty much walking out of the menu in a lot of places.
I think you're right. Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful up there, though. But yeah, I mean,
It is,
actually
yeah.
the UP is very similar to here, except the UP doesn't have the mountains. So it's
Yeah.
and I've heard there's dogman reports around here too, but I've never. I mean, it's so rare, and they don't cross my radar much. But not that I'm
Yeah.
plugged into the community real well, but they're not reporting getting attacked because they are dinner. Good point, Elaine. That's a good point. Yes. Yeah, yes, they. Wildman's mom says yes, they hide them as wild dogs or bear, other animals that they can blame. Sure, I mean that could be. Not that bears do attack people, and that's a real thing, as do mountain lions, and I'm sure, I'm really convinced that mountain lions are much more, diversified throughout the nation and throughout North America
Oh,
than they
absolutely.
were. Yeah.
We've had them even down here.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember a couple in middle school, and we're a pretty residential area over here, and we had one spotted in a community park.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's so crazy. I've been attacked by a human. Yeah. Well, that's scary as well, Philip. Yeah.
the deadliest predator.
Yeah, I think of all of them, probably humans are the most dangerous. But I just know that there's plenty of people go missing every year. As if you tune into David Paulides, you'll hear plenty of references of people going missing, and certainly some of those could be these cryptids. I'm not discounting that possibility at all. I'm not saying that's all of them, but it's pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so I got another story here about dogmen, and this is apparently reported from a certified naturalist, and I'm not sure what that really means. I mean, it's not obviously a biologist, or is it? I don't know. I don't know what a
Actually
certified.
certified?
Yeah, I don't know. A certified naturalist describes his dogman/werewolf encounter in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey.
Ooh.
Yep, Jersey Devil. They got Bigfoot there, and apparently some kind of dogman. So the Pine
Something
Barrens,
going on in Jersey.
there sure is.
Under the Bulwark Walk.
Yeah, or in the Pine Barrens. Yeah. All right, so let's look at this one again from phantomsandmonsters.com. Certified naturalist describes his dogman/werewolf encounter in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. So it says the naturalist and his friends are driving in the New Jersey Pine Barrens when they'd observe a 7-foot tall upright cryptid canine running near the vehicle. The following account was forwarded to me. Hi, I believe I saw a cryptid that most people would know as a dogman or a wolfman in the New Jersey Pine Barrens. When I received my driver's license at 17 years old, I started spending all my free time outdoors, hiking all over the East Coast, but mostly within the New Jersey Pine Barrens. I worked as a naturalist at, what is that? Botstow Village in Wharton State Forest for a while, which is the biggest state forest within the Pine Barrens. I got the job before my internship ended due to my knowledge of plants and animals. They did not expect me to have the credentials because at the time I was not even finished with my first semester in college. I only give this information because when I see an animal in the woods, day or night, I know with 100% certainty what I'm looking at. And after almost 6 years from the time of writing this story, I can't wrap my head around the creature that I saw. I am an open-minded person to a point. I do believe certain cryptids can exist solely if the biology of the creature is possible. But that does not put a bipedal canine on my list. Roughly about 6 years ago, along with two of my friends, one a welder and one a mechanic, and I will be naming the welder Chris and the mechanic Alan, went off-roading in my friend Alan's truck somewhere in Manchester, New Jersey. We met with a bunch of Alan's off-roading buddies in a spot they frequented. I don't know the specific area, only that it was in Manchester, New Jersey, and it was very close to the general vicinity of the abandoned brick factory, for any of you that might be familiar with the area. And hung out for a few hours, drove around the dirt trails, and just had a good time socializing with other people. I did not have any alcohol or any pot in my system, because after we left, I had to drive myself home, so I was sober along with my Alan. I don't know what a my Alan is. Who was also sober, but my friend Chris was a bit high. We were beginning to leave, and as we were taking the trails to get back to the main road, my friend Alan told me to help look out for deer. He's driving about 35 miles per hour because the dirt path we were on was pretty open, about 30-ish feet wide, and we were dead in the middle in case he did have to respond to a deer jumping out of the tree line. Well, as minutes go by and my sharp eyes spot a deer running alongside the truck, but within the tree line, so the view wasn't more than a dark brown patch of fur. As I'm about to say something to my friend Alan, thinking this was a deer is going to run in front of the car and try to commit suicide, it speeds up its pace significantly and gets about 20 feet ahead of the truck, still in the tree line, and then proceeds to jump out in front of the truck. For as long as I live, I will never forget what I saw that night. It ran onto its two back legs, looked right up at us, and to our horror, it ran by this about 30-foot wide dirt road in 2 or 3 steps, and went into the opposite tree line. In those few seconds, I saw this Dogman or Wolfman, and to this day, I can't forget what I saw. It was roughly 7 feet tall, covered in dark brown fur. Every inch of its body I saw was covered in this dark brown fur, but the chest and stomach area had less fur, and a lighter colored fur than the rest of the body. But even under all this fur, you could make out extreme muscle definition, very similar to an Olympic bodybuilder. And it also had canine type of head with a long snout and 2 distinct perked up wolf ears. Large muscular legs, and the torso and arms were similar to that of a very muscular man with large hands. The hands had visible claws that looked like they could do some real damage, and its eyes reflected an unnatural color of light that I hadn't seen in the animal kingdom. As soon as it jumped in the opposite tree line, my friend Alan slammed on the brakes as my friend Chris said, "I know I'm high, but what the hell was that?"
Great way to pop in.
Yeah, exactly. My friends, puzzled by what we just saw, looked at me and said, "Okay, nature boy, please tell us that was something explainable." I just sat there dumbfounded and told them I didn't have an answer based on on reason, science, or anything I could logically think of, and my friend Alan hightailed it out of there. To this day, my friend Chris has convinced himself that it wasn't a hallucination because of the pot, and my other friend Alan, who does not believe in the supernatural and absolutely refuses to have an open mind, does not speak about this event and pretends it didn't happen. To this day, I still have no logical explanation for what I saw. I do not believe that the bipedal canine creature could logically / biologically exist, but what I saw was something matching that description with my own eyes. And it is very real. Wow. And that's it. Again, most of these sightings are so quick. It's like, boom.
Yeah.
You know, I would be interested to know, again, because like in the last story, saw one jump across the road, and next thing they know, it's at the neighbor's house
Yeah.
trying to scratch to get in.
If they saw another one.
Interestingly enough, there's been reports of many people researching the cryptids like Bigfoot and like Dogman. And they'll go into an area and do their thing and have some kind of encounters, mostly ambiguous, sometimes sightings, whatever. And then they will get in their cars and go home. And oddly enough, sometimes those things seem to follow those people. And who knows how they do it, but again, and I brought this up on the show before, how many times has everybody heard the stories of the dog that crossed the nation and found its owners on the other coast from where they lived, or a cat doing the same thing? I mean, there's so many stories of these animals that, and in this case, they're part of our family group, and they just decide they're not done being part of our family, and they follow us. But they seem to be able to traverse these impossible distances. So it can't be just smell. It can't be just, anything normal or physical. Because if you're traveling down a freeway at, 65, 70 miles an hour, how much scent are you leaving behind of yours? And how long will that last? That an animal could traverse and follow. And I just can't believe that could be done by mere physical means. That it's got to be it's got to be some kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, an energy they can, just cue in on and just follow it like a compass to you. I don't know. It's just incredible.
It's terrifying.
Right.
Sheer bloodlust. More than that, probably.
Well, there's that too. I mean, in this case, these are the kittens from hell, because they're coming for a whole different reason, and who knows what that is? Like, oh, you saw me, you got to be taken out. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they don't. I mean,
that's a good point. If it could even be something that, like, if you're able to see, because not everybody sees these things too. So if you're able to see them, maybe they're able to lock onto that.
Right. Like, is it a psychic imprint that they can just follow? Or something like that. After there's that maybe it creates some kind of quantum entanglement just by recognition, and no matter where you go, they can zoom in on it, and it comes up. I mean, not all the time, but I've certainly heard those stories, and I've talked to people that research. One's a friend of mine, Cindy Goodbreak. She would go up on the mountain in the area of her home, but several miles away, and look around and, find structures and things like that. And then she would go home. She did say she did some calls that she was warned not to make, because that really does draw them in. And so she said, I wasn't supposed to do that, but I did it. But then she started having activity around her house. And this is in this area.
You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she was just, if you know Cindy, you know that she often throws caution to the wind and does her own thing. She's just that way. But it's an interesting story of how do they cue in, how do they follow. But if if they have those same intuitions as the wild, like our animal pets, then it's not impossible.
Yeah. And too, I mean, if it is something like, they're not seen by everybody and somebody sees them and they recognize that somebody sees them.
Yeah.
That alone could be like, oh, you see me? Let's see what you're up to.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see me?
What? You saw me? And maybe there is something to that too, because, I've had discussions with several people in the fields that maybe lean a little more towards the energetic and such, but that maybe it wouldn't be visible to all people. Maybe these things could cross unnoticed in front of most people or many people, but just in the right conditions like this one, everybody in the car was maybe altered enough that they could see it just fine.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
that. Maybe the, being high or at least, being a little tipsy, you could maybe zoom in on that stuff a little better. I don't know. It's an
Yeah.
interesting
Or if
thought.
one person in the car maybe had the ability to see them, and maybe that just kind of fans out depending on how that
Right.
works.
Yeah, it could be an aura thing, right? Where
Yeah.
if you're present, then that just maybe raises the resonance because it's the old tuning fork theory, right? If somebody in
Absolutely.
if you have two tuning forks and only one of them is struck and they're keyed to the same, same note, they'll both start ringing, and even though there could
Yep.
be a room apart. So maybe it works the same way for us, those people that are more gifted or at least aware that if they're around other people that maybe that raises the frequency of everybody around them. So that's an
Yep.
interesting thought. I like what,
Definitely. You're changing my vibe, man.
yeah, exactly. Hopefully in a good
Yeah.
way.
In a good way. Yeah. Yep.
I know I've been around people that definitely lower the vibe. So,
Yeah. Tons of times.
Jimmy, do you want to do some YouTube shout outs?
Yeah. Who am I shouting out? Just anybody?
Just everybody that's here.
Yeah. Okay.
If you click on the chat
Yeah.
thing, yeah, just go to the
As always,
participants.
we got Maggie M10. Hello, Maggie.
Uh huh.
Rachel gets it right. Love to see you. Wildman's mom. Hello, hello. Let's see. We got Jordan Cogburn, Jordan Rooster Cogburn. Hello, good to see you. Wizard Moon 13, as always, good to see you. Philip Blair, Philip Blair and the Blair Witch Project. Let's see. Who else we got? Digger Dog, RJ Windwalker. Let's see who else. RJ Windwalker made a hilarious joke earlier, and I forgot to shout that out, but I lost it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Elaine Clifford, we got popping in. Karen Aberdeen.
hmm
Let's see. A case in Colorado of a kidnapped girl. A dog followed her scent from where she lived down the freeway to where they found her body. Oh my God. I guess they can follow the
oh,
scent even from a car.
wow.
That's creepy, Karen Aberdeen. Thank you.
I know
Let's
Grumpy
see. We got,
Owl's here.
yep, Grumpy Owl. Hello, hello.
Yep.
Let's see. Let me pop back up here.
Yeah, you'll notice that when you start doing shout outs, all of a sudden people will be talking and it's like the list keeps growing.
Yeah. And Isaac Areola. I
Hey,
love it.
Isaac, good to see you.
Hello, good to see you. John Tempreen. We got, let's see, Paranormal Portal. I see you. Hello.
Thank you.
SoCal Squatcher.
Oh, cool.
Chucky is out. I saw him leave earlier, but always shout out to Chucky. We
Yep.
got Barbara Mora,
Yep.
David Zeismer,
hmm
and is that everybody? Chris Sirik.
Yep.
Who
Chris
am I
here.
missing?
Wizard Moon just popped over.
Wizard Moon.
Yep. John
Yep,
Temperate.
I'm in there too,
John Temperate.
somewhere.
You're in
John
there
Temperate.
somewhere.
Yep. I'm
Yeah.
a bit too much. I got to change my name again. This is an old YouTube sketch channel, but yeah, I'm in here somewhere a bit too much.
Oh, is that your name? A bit too much?
Yeah, I used to
Oh.
do sketches with this account. I haven't done it forever, but
Oh.
yeah, they're pretty sketchy.
I like it. Get the rim
Let's
shot.
see. Yeah, boom. That's it. I think that's everybody.
All right.
I
Well,
said Maggie and Tim.
yeah, you said Maggie first. Yep. But thank you everybody for being here as we're winding down the trek through the paranormal portal. I guess you all made it intact back to the where we came in. I hope you guys had a good time. Remember, the podcasts are released every Monday. And so if you listen to the podcasts, we love your support there. If you don't, so whatever podcasts you use, whatever software, whether it's Spotify, whether it's just one built into your phones, Android, or well, I think that's a Google Play. But there's also iTunes, Pandora, Stitcher, Castbox. Got it everywhere. Everywhere there's podcast players. If whatever you use, Podbean, just do a search for Paranormal Portal and you'll find our podcasts. And we'd love your support there. And if the application you're using allows you to leave reviews, we love a wonderful review. That helps out a ton because I know that reviews are important. I use reviews like when I'm Amazon or whatever, or if I'm looking at books, looking at reviews, or whatever. So your support means the world to us. So Yoholo, I saw a snatch squatch once over in over in Rumble. Yaholo said I saw a snatch squatch once. I don't even know what that is, dude, but I'm pretty sure I don't want to see one. That sounds absolutely terrifying.
I think you have to go incognito for that one.
Don't post a link, please. Yeah. So anyway, these live shows happen. These are not the podcast. These are something else, but they're just our live streams. So when you hear me say podcast, it's generally audio only. However, I have started filming the podcast episodes and posting the videos on the video sites like Rumble, YouTube, and BitChute. But obviously it's an audio as well. So if you just want to listen while you're doing whatever, pull up the portal and give us some love. And this next week, though, on the podcast, it's going to be a two-parter. And it's kind of a rerun for our YouTube audience because it's the last appearance of Hometown Ghost Stories. We're posting that episode up this week. But, if you'd listen to it, that's great. They are wonderful guys. And, I've loved doing things with them. I often get guest co-host on their show, and I love it when they come over onto ours. It's just been a lot of fun getting to know those guys. And if you're looking for another show to check out, they also have a podcast version of their show that's audio, but they do have a YouTube channel. Just look for Hometown Ghost Stories. So, it's been a hell of a journey, right, Jimmy?
It has. I'm sad to say goodbye.
I know, it goes quick, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's always a time anomaly here in the portal. Hold on, I got a cough. I will say I'm glad my voice kind of cleared up for the most part.
It cleared up within like 5 minutes. You talked out of it.
I just loosened it all up, I guess. So that was good. But anyway, the live shows, these live streams happen every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So love to have you come and check them out whenever we're live. Follow our social media. But the best place, if you want to just see where the Paranormal Portal is and how to find it, just go to paranormalportal.net. All the links are there on that page. It's also kind of the home base of the Paranormal Portal. And you'll also see the posting of the most recent podcast episode, the audio up there. So I'd love to have you check that out and just bookmark it. That way you'll know when we're live. I usually do post a countdown timer to the next live streams. It's a little further down on the page, but if you look for it, you'll see this countdown timer. If I forgot to set it, it just disappears. So in the case, so I'm going to be setting it after the show for next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern is when all of our live streams start. So set your schedule and tune in, spread the word, let other people know what's about the shows. That helps a ton. And Jimmy, any final words?
Shout out to the 10 p.m. Eastern crowd. I love that we got the spooky shift over here.
Amen, brother. And thank you, Jimmy, for joining me, man.
Absolutely. I'll be here as many times as you'll have me until you get sick of my reading out loud.
No, you're doing great. Actually, your reading's improved, so I love it.
I'm up to a few words a minute, so thank you.
At least you're not sounding them out anymore, so that's good.
I still got to point and read, but it's coming along.
All right, brother. Well, thank you for being here with me, and thank all of you for tuning in. And until Wednesday then, but watch for the podcast on Monday, and then we'll see you on Wednesday. Until then, take care. Have a great start of your week. And remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And we'll see you next time on the Paranormal Portal, ladies and gentlemen. And, oh my God, you're here on Rumble. Congrats, Brent. Hey, Digger Dog's over there on Rumble. Yes, sir. We're here. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for us. Until next time, y'all be good.
See everybody.